this thinking gives you the ability to actually find ways to upgrade the metahuman in the now, right? If at your organization you can get organization-wide adoption of, let's say, topic-based communication or something like that, all of a sudden the metahuman at your organization has leveled up, right? It's like, oh, new genetic modification. This is now going to happen this way. Like my biceps are stronger, right?
Yeah.
And that's really kind of a cool thing to think about.
Or serum.
So what? Yeah, serum. Exactly, right? This is a little bit of superhero that you're adding on, and so you don't have to be like have some crazy impactful job, be a millionaire, be a philanthropist. There are ways that you can impact things well into the future just by what you do in your daily work.
Yeah. It's the new year. We want to zoom out a little bit and say, while we talk about all of these things, what are the larger impacts beyond this person in this role doing this job, and what do we expect from a long-term perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go right into it. We're going to talk about the metahuman and a lot of the reasons why behind all of the things that we do, the things that we try to teach. Of course, it's like, yeah, we're going to make a better workplace and your daily work is going to be better and your life is going to be less stressful and those types of things. But I think there's a bigger thing behind it all that we don't often think of, and that is how our behavior and patterns that we're implementing today, or the way that we behave at work, or the way that we do things have an even bigger impact for the future. And so it's not just about me today, me tomorrow, or even my coworkers today or tomorrow. It's about, maybe even 50, 150, 1,000 years from now, right? The things that you're doing could have an impact. And that human experience that we all as humans have on this planet, realizing that the things that we do at work, the way that we work, the patterns that we implement actually impact that human experience much further down the road than we typically consider.
Yeah, I just had to look up the quote because it reminds me of this, but it's an old Greek proverb that says, "A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they will never sit in." And I think that's, we want to build a great society. And so we're going to be talking about meta things today. So if you're like looking for tech tips and tricks, this is not the episode for you. Find one of our other ones. If you want to talk about some of the why, or hear about some of the why behind what we do, this is a great one. So the problem statement is leaders and organizations focus on things like cost, licensing, end users, driving sales. And then one step further down from that, the individuals, they care about checking off their tasks and meeting goals and playing their role, but they're missing a bigger point, which is the way we work matters. And every day we have an opportunity to make ourselves better, stronger, faster, but we also recognize what we're doing adds value, capability, and enhances the metahuman.
Absolutely.
Want to unpack that a little bit?
Man, there's so much there. Mitch, how many tasks do you do every day that you wish you just didn't have to do because I did this yesterday or I did this last week? We all have those things. And when we get time, we look for ways to automate them. And then there is personal automation, which is going to impact you, but teaching others how to personally automate their own tasks, because everybody's going to have that. So that's an area that we care about. But then also recognizing that the thing that you're automating, if it matters to the organization, it ought to be done in a way that the organization has control over it, has visibility into it, so that it can outlive you, right? Otherwise, it's just personal automation and it goes away when you disappear, and that does nothing for the next guy, right? The metahuman. But in every one of those things that we're doing, there's probably a better way that we can do it that's going to make it better for the next person that comes along. And ultimately, when you do that, like if you do that, let's say in 3 different areas, and you establish that pattern and you consistently do that, and the others in your organization who come alongside you see that pattern and they start to do that, and that organization lives, let's say, beyond 20 years, right? The new people who started that organization are going to inherit those built-in patterns, right? It's almost like a genetic modification to the human, right? This is a modification. It's a modern work modification to the metahuman, right? When those new employees come along 20 years from now, they inherit all of that stuff, all of those patterns that we implemented. And when they show up to do their work, they're already 5 steps ahead, right? Because that has been established.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the concept, like Simon Sinek will talk about the infinite game. Like there's no winning business. Like sure, your business can be successful, but there is a losing business, which is losing the business. But what does winning really look like? It's not a finite game that has a start and an end all the time. It's something that goes beyond what we know. So I feel like the example that you gave when we were talking about this, we often we'll sometimes relate it to like Bible stories, right?
Oh yeah,
When you were thinking about this analogy of what like Abraham and stuff
yeah.
like that.
This is the Abraham story, right? And that's one of the oldest stories ever told. But God tells Abraham, "Hey, come out of your luxurious slumber and live a life of adventure and meaning, and I will make you father of nations." Right. So essentially, what he's saying there is there's a pattern of living, there's a way of living that is more successful than what you're doing. Do this, and your genes, your genetics will be, you know, father of nations.
Mm-hmm.
You'll last forever,
Yeah,
a lineage that lasts forever. And like, what's more important than that,
yeah.
right? Like, we only have what, maybe 80 years on this planet, but to think that there are decisions that you do make, uh, staying married to your spouse for one, for example, uh, that are cosmic in nature. They are eternal in nature, right? You make that choice every day, and you're affecting forever, right? And there's not much more bigger than that.
Yeah. I'm learning more and more how people are affected by their parents and how they're brought up. And
Like, I don't know anybody who's a dad. If you have kids, the thing you want is you want them to have it better than you did, and you
Mhm.
strive to make that happen. And part of that is, sure, making their life better, making their life easier, but you also want them to learn the patterns that work,
Mhm.
and to, if at all possible, learn those the easy way, not the hard way, so that they're starting ahead, and so that their kids learn those things even sooner, and
Mhm.
so on and so forth. Right? It's all about making others successful. See what I did there, though?
Yeah, right. The thing that reinforces this to me is I just got off a group coaching call with a couple folks all trying to move this needle at their company of how do we work better? What is this beyond me? And what one of the ladies there kept saying, like, I want to replace myself. I want to
Yeah,
automate myself out of a job. I want to make myself promotable. And all those things feed into this concept. Everyone with that mindset should be viewed as a valuable asset to any company.
yeah.
Um, and I think society tells us to, or tempts us to think the opposite a lot of this is mine and I want to stay away, stay off my turf. And uh, there's no doubt that you can find success in that, right?
Well,
You can make money off of that.
Elon Musk has told us all that 20 years from now, nobody's going to actually have to work.
Yeah.
Work will be a choice because the robots are going to do it all. And I think some people buy into that because they see, oh, I can just sit on my couch and watch TV, or, the robots will make the food for me, or whatever that means to them. I don't think that's what Elon means, right?
Mhm.
I really don't. I think, um, what he's really driving at is there is opportunity there to improve the human experience overall. And if that means we're doing something else with our time instead of menial tasks, that's
Mhm.
great,
Mhm.
because we're establishing a new pattern.
Mhm.
And what we're doing and what we're teaching people at work is you can change what work's going to look like 1,000 years from now
Mhm.
by taking these steps.
Let's ground us a little bit and say what does it actually look like to behave this way at work, or maybe someone's leading a workplace and they want to embody this mindset and think about things this way. One of the first things that we promote is the concept of like communicating and collaborating in a topic based way
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
You're feeding the organization's knowledge, not any one individual's knowledge, right? So getting things out of inboxes, stop emailing internally, using topic-based communication in tools like Teams or Slack, and then making sure that documents are put in, the appropriate places in Teams and channels, accessible to who needs to have access to them, searchable, right? All of those things make the experience of finding them, working with them, using Copilot on them, all of those things become much easier for everyone involved. And that's just an overall, that's the rising tide lifts all boats, right? Mentality that we talk about in our foundations course. But that's just one example, right?
Yeah. I'm recognizing my goal of this episode would be if I could put it in a time capsule and say someone watches it or listens to it 100 years from now, the tools we're using today probably are not going to be a thing in the same format, right? Like what will it look like? I don't know, but I hope if you show up to work this way, regardless of what tools you use, you will see success.
And those tools are probably going to be gone, right? Power Automate 100 years from now, probably not a thing. But to the extent that we can talk about the meta and mindset and approach and culture and behavior and how we treat each other and how that is mirrored in the tools that we use and how we use those tools and the patterns that are involved, that stuff will live forever, right? And we're throwing it all out there.
We used to have an intro to our podcast that was, and we'll make others successful, and that makes others successful.
Yeah.
And it became like a little bit of a mouthful and like not super marketable, but that is what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
How do we enable people so they can enable people?
Absolutely. It's a huge motivator for me. When Matt Dressel and I started this business, it was like, well, what do we want this to be? We want it to be bigger than us. We want it to outlive us if at all possible. What does that look like? What does that mean, right? What do we have them do? So we're always thinking about ways that we can impact the future for the good.
Yeah. Hopefully this is helpful. This is interesting to someone. We're interested to know what you think of it. We have a link set up, bulb.digital/feedback. If this is intriguing to you, obviously, we're rolling into a new year, so we're dreaming a little bit. We're thinking about these things, but I'm interested to know if this is relevant to you, or if you guys are like, guys, stop preaching, stop talking at that level and get back to the tools. We could do that too, but it's always fun to kind of zoom out a little bit and talk about these sorts of topics.
I, for one, love this stuff, so if you guys like it.
Mike's going to make a spin-off series.
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening. We're going to, make this one a little bit short, but it's been fun talking about, and I'm sure we'll be talking in light of these things someday soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks.